Hi guys, welcome. Something's missing. God, it's been a while since I've done a full video. Hi guys, welcome back to The Social Tune. And today, as we approach the end of 2024, let's take one more look back at the biggest hits of last year, 2023. I can buy myself flowers. 2023 was a strange year for music. The first word that came to mind was stagnant, as the year was really dominated by a bunch of hits that just would not go away. But then again, there was more variety throughout than, say, 2022, which only really hit its stride in the second half. Another word that springs to mind is extremes. I hate the worst songs of this year with a burning passion, but I also adored the best hits, probably more so than any other year in the 2020s so far. And because I had such strong feelings towards so many of the hits of 2023, both good and bad, I feel like I had a lot more fun last year than a lot of people, whether I was raging at the music or praising it. It also helps that Jason Aldean didn't even touch the Irish Hot 100, thank fuck for that. But you know who did?
Richmond, north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control.
Yeah, this stuck around the top 40 for a disturbingly long time. And while it did ultimately miss the year-end list, it came a lot closer than I think a lot of people realize. To show you what I mean, let me quickly run through a few of the hits that were disqualified from this list, namely the ones that have already made 2 year-end lists or more in the past. And sure, just for fun, let's rank them as well. This group can absolutely bite me, but the song is still okay in my opinion, if very overplayed. One of the most hated hits of the 2010s by many, but I still don't mind it. An indie song from a fucking decade ago that is still here for some reason. A majestic piano ballad that is more than a decade old and only gets better with time. And 2 of the best hits of all time, timeless classics that would feel incredibly cheap to include here. So excluding those 6 songs, you have my official Hot 100 Songs of 2023 that I posted on my blog, and with those metrics, Richmond North of Richmond was number 101.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to. People like me.
You want to know the worst part of it? Even if it had qualified, it would not even be the worst hit of 2023.
Last night we let the liquor talk. No, should have called. No, you should have tried.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
I've already spewed a lot of hate towards these songs over multiple videos at this point, so I'm not going to waste my breath by going over them individually yet again. But can we just take a moment to acknowledge that 3 of the songs on this year-end Hot 100 are -1s out of 10? A score I didn't even dole out to a single song in 2022? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so surely here's where I would place Richmond North of Richmond, right? Nope.
Only know you've been high when you're feeling low. Only hate the roads where you're missing home.
Look, I don't think I hate Central C as much as a lot of you do. Because while most of you may know him from Doja and showing up semi-regularly in 2024, I've been listening to his music for a lot longer. But I can still acknowledge he does not have the best batting average, and man does he know just how to get under my skin when he really wants to. I didn't think he'd ever make a song that would repulse me more than Commitment Issues, but this came pretty damn close. First of all, I have a history with that sample.
Why?
Well, you only need the light when it's burning low.
I still can't fucking stand that song, but if there was ever a way to make me forgive Passenger and cut him a bit of slack, Central C found a way.
Our chemistry fought like quantum physics.
This is a whiny, guilt-tripping song where he's forlornly trying to get this girl to come back to him, but just when he might have fooled some people into feeling sorry for him,
Only know you love her when you let her go. You said that pussy man, so why'd you let it go? It's such a hole.
ha, classy, fuck off, asshole.
I changed my bed sheets, but I still smell your flesh.
I hate this way more than Oliver Anthony Music, who we can consider our unofficial number 96A for obvious reasons. But that still doesn't make these songs anything better than dog shit. Wow, this got worse.
If we ever broke up, I'd never be sad. Think about everything I thought we had if we ever broke up.
Hell, there was a brief period of time last year where I considered putting it at the very bottom of the list. But ultimately, I do at least think the bass line is okay, and the melody is undeniably catchy. The mix would honestly sound fine if it weren't for that one snare that sounds like somebody creepily breathing in your ear. Oh, and of course don't forget the genius who brought the fucking rubber band into the studio.
If we ever broke up,
But it's the lyrics that really soured me on this.
you're living in Wonderland. If you think I'll understand.
Mae Stevens sounds so fucking bored as she threatens this guy's life if he ever leaves her, even though he clearly should be doing exactly that. I mean, it's obviously the healthy thing to do. They're not happy together. But even if he should dream of finding a person who's actually right for him, she will rain absolute hellfire down on his existence.
If you stay awake at night, waiting for somebody right, baby, all your karma is due.
And what I hate most about this is the feigned innocence.
Like I would never hate you, but only if you want to. So much time, like who knew?
Oh, aren't you cute, you fucking sociopath? And I mean that quite literally. If she was upset, that would be one thing. But as she herself says, don't get so emotional. It's not personal. This is my nightmare. An emotionally manipulative and clingy partner who refuses to let you go despite clearly not loving you. And the fact that people fucking relate to this song is enough to make me fucking vomit.
Just put your hand on your heart and wish, oh, and I'll come back to you.
The weakest drop of the decade. Fight me.
It's all in my head, it's all in my mind.
A quivering, badly sung and cheaply produced ballad where Tom Odell is practically ejaculating his self-loathing all over the backseat of this taxi where he and his oh-so-perfect partner are riding together. Oh, I'm so awful. I can't breathe. I don't even recognize my own reflection, all because of how inferior I feel next to your fucking perfection.
Baby, calm down, calm down.
No, it did not grow on me. This year's bad music is just significantly worse.
You're giving me step by step when you're moving in.
Yep, it's only here. Which is nuts, because from a semi-objective perspective, this is way worse than Make Me Feel Good. Less melodic, definitely worse written, with a hook that falls 10 times flatter, and Jazzy sings it with all the interest of an Irish citizen trying to figure out paperwork with the HSE, which for those who don't know, is a fucking fruitless endeavor.
Well, if it's unhealthy, then I don't give a damn.
Shania Twain deserves better than this. Only reason this is not much lower is because after the album dropped, nobody wanted to hear whatever Anne-Marie had to say. And if you've heard that godforsaken wasteland of a project, you already know why.
Why you gotta go give me the ick, ick? No friend, I don't ever wanna see you and I never wanna miss you again.
Oh god, this was not designed to stick around long term. A couple of years ago, it at least had this weird charm that made me overlook it for the first couple of months. But as an avid Oliver Tree hater, this was always bound to become unlistenable to me. Also, justice for Southstar, you greedy fucking pricks.
I would want myself, let me please believe it.
Jeez, another song that only got worse after extended exposure. I didn't even hate this at first, but every time I heard Tate McRae go, I would want myself,
Let me please believe it.
I would get more and more turned off by it. I would want myself.
Mommy, don't go, daddy's getting hot at the body shop, doing something unholy.
I still think this sucks, but in a similar way to Psycho by Anne-Marie last year, I've kind of grown to enjoy just what a train wreck it is. Call it entertaining for all the wrong reasons, except for the wrong reason named Kim Petras. I still don't get her appeal. I'm actually kind of baffled that this one is still in the bad tier, considering how much I tore it to shreds last year. I mean, it's still fucking asinine, and the production does absolutely nothing to flatter Ella's vocals. But I don't know, compared to Joel Corey's other disaster last year, this one is at least slightly more listenable. Or, you know, listenable at all in the first place.
Everything is pointless without you.
I have never hated Lewis Capaldi the way that everyone else seems to, but dear God does this song try my patience. It's basically just a better produced Black Friday by Tom Odell. Full of self-loathing and wailing that isn't even introspective. I know that Capaldi can do better than this. Lame! Why the fuck does Playboy Cardi still have a career?
Money on top of me, money on top of her.
Only reason it's not worse is that over time I started to just tune out Abel and Madonna's half-assed performances. Seriously, how the fuck does he have better chemistry with her than with Lily Rose Depp?
She said, green, green girls, blue, blue sky.
Okay, maybe I was a little bit harsh last year. Turns out, when you load up the Hot 100 with some of the worst hits of the decade so far, it makes the saccharine, pointless shit sound somewhat better by comparison. Doesn't change the fact that this is made for toddlers. Really stupid, dumb toddlers who hate their parents for exposing them to this. No, I'm not petty.
On the banks of the rose, it's me loving I sat down.
Sometimes a song is so mind-numbingly boring that it ends up actually tipping the scales into bad. And over the course of many months, that gummy banjo, the complete lack of effort, the mouth-breathing delivery, and the synths that sound like someone stifling a sneeze, not to mention Chasing Abby's usual smarmy unlikableness, really wore me down on this. No offense to you guys, I just don't like your music, and I don't think we'd get along as people. And when you give me something this lazy and passionless, you're really not helping your case. I am convinced that this is what incels listen to. The verses are pathetic, but the chorus makes me feel like I'm being waterboarded, so I guess the verses really aren't that bad by comparison.
Karma is my boyfriend. Karma is a god. Karma is the breeze in my hair on the weekend.
Part of me is just baffled that this even happened. The original Karma was already arguably the worst song on Midnights, and adding fucking Ice Spice to it makes absolutely no sense. Bottom line, when it comes to Taylor collaborating with rappers, Kendrick on Bad Blood is about as good as it gets. And that's really not saying much.
Who told you bad man don't dance? Who told you gangsters don't dance?
So fun fact, this is actually the only Drake song to make the year-end Hot 100 in Ireland. And while he definitely had worse songs in 2023, both Slime You Out and Search and Rescue would have been low in the awful tier had they qualified. This is mainly here for an absolutely pitiful performance by Jay Huss, who tries to balance being ungodly insecure with being really sensitive and in touch with his emotions, and in the process lets down everybody.
She wore that tight dress just to enhance.
Oh god, I defended this guy way longer than anyone else, in spite of the melodramatic writing and the murky production. But after getting a new album from Hozier, as well as a bunch of better deluxe songs, this became harder and harder to defend, especially when it wouldn't fucking go away for months on end.
If you ever wanna fall in love, if you ever wanna bet on us.
Congrats, Kian Ducrot, this is your best hit to date. Doesn't say much, I know. And speaking of which,
Love will lift us up again. Can you feel it?
I swear, the only reason that this became a real hit was because I accidentally left it on a loop for 8 hours last year. But fuck it, at least Jazzy sounds awake on this one.
Yeah, cause girls is players too.
I kind of liked this at first. Then I heard the sample-driven second hit Chasing album, and I lost a whole lot of respect for Coi Leray and this song. Does anyone remember her thoughts on the TikTok ban? Man, that ivory tower must be cozy. Fuck off.
Young girl don't want that back calling me splurge. Why me jump right off the curb?
Even at his best, Gunna's novelty faded on me after about a month. You know, for such an utterly messy song with about 15 different ideas being juggled and none of them being handled particularly well, I'm kind of surprised how often the chorus got stuck in my head last year. Then I would actually listen to it and the breakdown would make my head hurt all over again. This is another one that I kind of liked at one point. In fact, I would say that this is easily the song that I went back and forth on the most last year as to whether it was really good or absolute trash. Ultimately, I think the vocals are cool, I think the beat kind of sucks, and the lyrics don't match either of them. Plus, Hold On To Now just slaps so much harder. Why wasn't that the hit?
Oh, but instead I only wish you the best.
I still like the songwriting, but this is arguably Lewis Capaldi's worst performance and his most basic piano line to date. And yes, I really do appreciate the songwriting that much that it's still this high on the list.
100 meters. I just put 9 gal in a sprinter.
100 eaters, they won't fit in one SUV. Arguably the two biggest rappers in the UK right now, ladies and gentlemen. The beat's still cool though.
Now this gal want me and her uterus.
Started to cry, then remembered I just won my first Grammy!
It genuinely took all of last year and then some, but I think I finally come to appreciate this song for what it was always meant to be. It's a fine song for Miley to sing, especially when accepting her Grammy. That really genuinely touched my heart. And anyone else who sings it is kinda sad.
Every time that you touch me, my body reacts.
Yeah, the second Ella Henderson song that I fully expected to shrink on me over time. But if anything, this one only grew on me. The songwriting is still dumb, the sample is still entirely wasted, and yet the combo of Ella's huskier vocal tone with that iconic piano line just works way better than it should. And on a similar note,
Cause I'm good, yeah, I'm feeling alright. Baby, I'ma have the best fucking night of my life.
still not as bad as everyone says, especially when compared to Baby Don't Hurt Me. I can tell that this song is trying way harder than so many of the others in this tier, so I really wished I liked it more, but it just leaves me feeling completely cold. The bar for this genre was just so much higher in 2023, I'm sorry.
I put that on my love.
I genuinely don't know why this works for me, considering it's arguably the most basic and generic EDM song of last year. But Zara Larsson's sheer passion put it back over the top for me to make it what it was always supposed to be, a cheap cash grab of a song.
And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party.
Fuck Nicki Minaj, but this is still arguably one of the best verses that she's had in some time. Also, Ice Spice is here too.
And all I care about is you. It's stuck on me like a tattoo.
Boycott Eurovision 2025.
Was it over then? And is it over now?
Sorry, Swifties, but this is nowhere close to her best. I've heard some fans proclaim this as an instant classic, the ultimate takedown of Harry Styles. And conceptually, sure, but sonically and practically in the writing, no, not even close. Slut and Now That We Don't Talk are both far better.
But even with nothing on, bet I made you look.
I really should hate this by now, especially when Meghan Trainor proved on Mother that she's learned nothing. But confident Meghan still works better for me here than it ever has before. And I gave up trying to figure out why a long time ago.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Jungkook is my new favorite BTS member, probably because he's the one I've heard the most from. 3D would have been much higher on this list if it had qualified, for the record.
Roll up in a Bentley, I'm Christian, I'm Fendi, I'm a Prada.
Shame the production isn't more interesting. I don't like the original Mario song, but my god, nobody plays a cuck like The Weeknd. Also, props to Metro Boomin for making me sit through 21 Savage's lazy verse every single time just because of how good he made him sound.
If you be the cash, I'll be the rubber band. You'll be the match, I will be a fuse. Boom.
Fun fact, this never actually charted in Ireland up until last year. And man, this is probably the sexiest R&B song to ever start with the line, "Love me like a brother."
Love me like a brother.
I give a second chance to Cupid.
Not to open a big can of worms, but am I the only one who's heard kind of conflicting stories about who was really to blame between the record label and the girls and their families? I'm just saying, normally I would just blame the label, but there's a lot of holes in everybody's stories here. Well great, now I'm going to get a load of shit in the comments about a song that I'm only lukewarm on.
Pack up your car, put a hand in your heart, say whatever you feel, be wherever you are. We ain't angry at your love.
I genuinely didn't expect to become a Noah Kahan fan in 2023, but this was his worst hit in Ireland last year, and that's only because it didn't really have a strong hook.
'Cause I'm here alone, just dancing with my eyes closed.
Still the worst song on the album, but when said album has made me cry my eyes out time and time again, day and night, that's not really saying much.
Delusion is here again, and I think you'll come home soon.
Man, do I wish the chorus was as good as the verses. The album was mediocre, but I stand by this as being a really solid single.
I am worried about it right now. Keeping dreams alive. 1999 heroes.
That's right, all you haters, it's even higher than last year. Whistling is still a scourge on pop music, but man do these guys know how to write a catchy hook.
But I try my best and I try. It's just the way I am.
Sure, it's dumb, underwritten, and very traditional-leaning Irish folk music, to the point where it almost feels stereotypical, but my god is it charming. Also, spend the weekends over drinking, Mondays overthinking is one of my favorite lines of last year.
So kiss me the way that you would if we died tonight.
Still Dermot Kennedy's best song, but I'm just kinda sick of the guy. And considering his latest run of singles have been flopping one after the other, it looks like I'm not the only one. Yeah, this sure is a C-tier Charlie XCX song, especially in the wake of Brat.
But I keep on running through these red flags. I blame myself 'cause I know it's bad.
I'll admit it, Mimi Webb impressed me in 2023. The production still sucks, but god damn, this is one of the best hooks that I heard on the radio last year, and it wasn't even her best song. And you know what, fuck it, I like the songwriting. Sometimes you want to willingly ignore all the red flags and just rush right back into a terrible situation. I completely buy that from the woman who wrote Dumb Love. I mean, we all do stupid things when we're young. And on that note...
You say I used to be wild. I say I used to be young.
River deserved better, but this is still a decent consolation prize. Drum and bass was the sound throughout 2023, which gave veteran producers Chase and Status an easy way to get back into the spotlight and our hearts. When you even make Becky Hill this enjoyable to me, that's impressive. This is my Vegas of 2023, a song that is objectively really fucking good, I just never really come back to it. Maybe if it was on a more interesting album, I don't know.
Watch me dance the night away.
After Houdini dropped, I strongly considered bumping this back down to the decent tier because there's nothing really special about it. But man, is Dua Lipa a charismatic performer. Why the fuck is this chorus better than most of her new album?
God only knows
Speaking of performers who keep charming their way back into my good graces, I swear to God, I haven't gone back to the show since it dropped, but between this and Save My Life, I'm still so excited for what comes next.
You got a fast car, is it fast enough so we can fly away?
It might be controversial to place this so low, but I would never choose to listen to this over the original. The only reason it isn't lower is because Luke Combs is one of the cuddliest people in the music industry, and his voice makes me happy. Pathetic in the right way. Anybody else have the sudden urge to go to Vermont?
Bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
Doja Cat fatigue has really set in at this point, but that doesn't change the fact that even at her most toxic, this woman is one of the most talented and entertaining artists working today. I think I like this song more for what it represents for Northern Irish music than for the song itself, but this is still fantastic.
Us against the world, us against the ghetto, us against the police, us against this hoe. I'ma let you go.
Shameless 2000s G-Unit worship, but man is it authentic. This hits me right in the nostalgia feels in the best way.
I guess it goes like
This song is such an enigma to me. I usually don't respond well to something this cyclical and overall quite simple, certainly when it's paired with Peggy Goo's rather flat vocals, but my god does that keening guitar-like synth bring this to life.
No, don't get stressed, it's gonna get figured out. Oh, deep conversation that
The most I've enjoyed a Jonas Brothers song since fucking Burning Up. Please note though that if Joe Jonas turns out to be half the asshole that his ex-wife Sophie Turner claims him to be, this spot will be null and void.
I would never fall in love again until I found her.
Once in a while, one of those old school white guys strikes a chord and manages to make a song that just fucking works. Wish the M. Bayhold version had gotten bigger, but I still love them both. Especially after 2024 reminded me just how bad this subgenre can get. This is probably the second biggest grower of the year for me. A triumphant showcase of Pink Pantheresses' inevitable rise to fame, and the perfect closer to her album Heaven Knows. Also Ice Spice is here.
So I tell him it's one of me, he making fun of me. His girl is a bum to me.
Just imagine if those lines had been delivered by Megan. It instantly makes the song way better.
I heard Jesus did cocaine on a night out.
Kinda got overplayed, but I still think it's a fucking bop. Not to mention it was the first drum and bass song that I truly loved from the most recent wave.
All I know is 10:35 and I can feel your arms around me.
Please send your hate mail to the number at the bottom of your screen. Honestly, this is only so low because I kind of made myself sick of it by constantly replaying it throughout the first half of 2023. That, plus Tate McRae fatigue, plus the fact that there was much better dance music charting last year, all of it ultimately drove it out of the great tier. Still a bop, though.
We'll get in your car and you'll need to kiss me. We'll talk for hours and lie on the backseat.
So goddamn compelling. Honestly, the kind of song that I would want to see on the charts more often. Once again, though, I just haven't really gone back to it much since I reviewed it on the blog. Yes, I am aware that I am the problem.
It's me.
Not yet.
Go back to strangers.
Yeah, that's right. There are 31 songs in the great tier. 2023 may have had some awful moments, but my god did the best hits make up for it. And this tier in particular is gonna show off my questionable taste more than ever, fair warning. So let's start off with an easy favorite we can all agree on.
I've been drinking more alcohol for the past 5 days.
Libianca's solemn lament to her own loneliness and casual substance abuse struck the hearts of many critics, including my own. The only reason it's not higher is because it was single-handedly responsible for this fucking message appearing on my screen about 8 times last year.
Ooh, I adore you. Ooh,
The similarities to the 1975's The Sound are definitely not lost on me, but this is still such a sweet and love-struck tune. Play that shit, Fred.
You know it's not the same as it was.
Yes, you're fantastic. Now please go away.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
This was going to be in the good tier until I heard Tyla's album this year. Then it finally clicked, and as of filming this, I'm completely in love.
So I miss him some nights when I'm feeling depressed. Till I remember every time he made a pass on my friend.
This is such a ridiculously fun and irreverent song, where she's totally not gonna make a huge mistake, wink wink. That chorus just goes off. I wanna get it back.
Let's switch tracks on the pain. We lose each other so long, so long, so long, so long.
Last year, DOD barely missed getting into the great tier, and while a part of me kind of regrets that, this year they easily qualified. This is a wonderful, sprawling, festival-ready banger that I only wish had been allowed to have its extended mix go viral instead. Seriously, the outro on the full version of this fucking kills.
It must be exhausting, always rooting for the anti-hero.
This also grew on me throughout the year. I still think that the writing is a bit too hokey on the whole, but the chorus is iconic. But you know what's not only better, but more consistent?
The baddest of them all.
You wanna dance, baby?
It's been well over a year, and this song's weird little charm just keeps bringing me back for more. Low-key EDM by introverts for introverts that gives off the vibe of shyly asking your crush out to the prom. Fucking adorable.
They say pressure makes diamonds. How the hell am I still cold?
I wasn't expecting this to stick with me the way it did, but combine the melody lifted right from Jason Isbell's Live Oak, Dylan Gossett's imperfect, weathered voice, and the sentiment of frustration that all this pressure still hasn't made a diamond, he's still just coal, even after putting so much faith and time in hope only for it all to fall apart again. Yeah, that struck a chord.
You are my desire.
This might just be the most consistent singer-producer combo making hits today. They simply do not miss.
And it's blue, the shape of your body is blue.
I always thought this song was so overrated. It's not even the best song on Lover, still Taylor Swift's most forgettable album. But it finally becoming a full-fledged hit last year just felt like destiny in the best possible way. But despite all the critical acclaim, do you know what I still go back to more?
Sucker, fame fucker, bleeding me dry like a goddamn vampire.
Fine, after watching so many critics tear this apart over the course of many year-end lists, I guess I can see why some people might think that this song is bad. I simply vehemently disagree with all of their points. Where the juvenile moments in the songwriting only emphasize just how fucking dark the serious ones are. Lest we forget, she's voicing a former teenager here who includes the line, "Girls your age know better." I mean, it's not all too well, but come on. And on the note of underrated gems,
Cause I'm not ready to find out you know how to forget me.
no more excuses, this song is just genuinely terrific. I loved it at the end of 2022. It only got better throughout 2023, and I love it even more now. And I stand by that Capaldi has better songs than this. Cure for Minds Unwell, and especially How I'm Feeling Now, would have been even higher.
Even though we're going through it and it makes you feel alone, just know that I would die for you.
I think I'm one of the few free minds still out there who believes that Ariana's remix of Save Your Tears is actually inferior to the original, as I just really don't feel that her presence adds much to that song. By contrast, I think she sounds fucking majestic on this, and turned a song that I was kind of lukewarm on into one of my favorite hits by either artist. That's right, we got fucking Mitski here, and she even cracked the top 10 in Ireland. And while I would love to see her see more and more success going forward, I've seen her in concert, and I get the feeling that that's not what she wants. So I'm really grateful for this.
I got good loving for you, and I got nothing to prove. Give me permission to lose my head.
This is a banger and a half. I still can't believe how much I genuinely love it on repeated listens. Hannah Lang is probably my favorite DJ of 2023 alongside Fred again.
Still believe in a miracle.
I said before that Boys a Liar was my second biggest grower of last year, and this is definitely the first. As Ellie's sweet plea to just put a bit of faith in her, believe in the miracle of love just for a moment, struck a chord with me more deeply than anything she's released since Lights. Also, the trance piano drop on this, especially on the final hook where it combines with her vocals, sounds goddamn transcendent. Still one of the best dance songs of the decade so far. It's a little lower than it was last year, but again, stiff competition. And while her current album will probably get a Grammy next year, this queen has already proved to us that she can be a hitmaker whenever the fuck she feels like it.
Ceilings, plaster.
I went back to Lizzie McAlpine's 5 Seconds Flat, and my god, I should have given it more credit when it dropped. One of the best albums of 2022. This isn't even the best song on it, and the second half crescendo actually makes my jaw drop almost every time. God, I love living in a country where this was a top 10 hit. Thank fuck this stuck around instead of got me started.
See you tonight.
Fuck it, it's great.
Yes, I know that he's my ex, but can't two people reconnect?
And now, we've officially reached the top 10 best hit songs of 2023. Kind of. For the purposes of disqualifying older hits that still made the top 10, you can consider Rush our number 10 and Bad Idea Right to be our number 9. Got it? Okay, then proceed.
I like your minus, not the best idea.
If you'd asked me a couple of years ago, I would never have called SZA one of the most creative and interesting artists to be working on the charts. Honestly, I probably would have said she was a little overrated. But egg on my face, because in 2022, SOS shut me right the fuck up, and that album's legacy, including this fantastic song, carried on throughout the entire following year. She deserved the Grammy over Taylor, I'm just saying.
I used to float, now I just fall down.
I'll admit it, this song gave me quite a bit of trouble last year. At first, I was absolutely floored by it, to the point that when I did my top 20 ranking for summer last year, I didn't even want to say anything about it. I just called it perfection and left it at that. Then, it fell out of rotation, and I was even afraid that it was going to drop into the good tier at some point. But as autumn, and especially winter, rolled in, this song crept back into my heart and refused to let go. An achingly sad ballad from the point of view of a woman who is sinking deeper and deeper into a depression, to the point where she feels completely numb, knowing that society isn't designed to get her back out of it. Hell, she can't even rely on her own boyfriend to lift her out of it because, quote, it's not what he's made for. His role isn't to understand your emotions. It's a miserable commentary on the bleak existence of being a woman. And as someone with a lot of women in his life who've expressed these same emotions through rage, bitter tears, and finally that same hopeless resignation that Billie displays here, yeah, this really stuck. If it was anyone but Billie Eilish, this would probably be the best song they'd ever made. But Billie's even got hits that are better than this. So while I do see myself returning to this more and more, I still wouldn't call it her absolute best. No, for an example of a song that I kept coming back to...
'Cause I can't let go. It's chemical.
That's right, it grew on me more than Kill Fucking Bill. Quite simply one of the best hooks of Post's career, a drug-fueled cry for help in a swirling void of hedonism. It's messy, unhealthy, horny, drunken debauchery, and fuck do I love it.
I'm pausing myself again. Something in the orange tells me you're never coming home.
In 2022, I was a little bit hesitant to buy into Zach Bryan. After experiencing his phenomenal self-titled album last year, I went back to this, and quickly realized that Something in the Orange is better than most of an album that I think is great. It's a stunningly gorgeous, harmonica-tinged track that feels fucking timeless. And I honestly think that as time goes on, its stock is only gonna go up. Who knows where it'll be by the end of the decade? But if we're talking about the best hits of 2023, we obviously have to mention...
Just a heartbroken bitch, high heel, 6-inch in the back of the nightclub, sipping champagne.
I mean, duh. Although the funny thing is, I think this is only barely the third best song off of that last album. She had 2 entries in my top 100 songs of the year overall, and Black Mascara is a strong 4th place that is constantly fighting for the 3rd. Still though, the fact that this song blew up and became such a pop culture phenomenon worldwide, where so many people heard Ray's plight and responded with sympathy and love, all of which turned a song this fucking cool and different into such a massive smash hit, that all makes me so fucking happy and so hopeful for Ray's future. As a reminder, fuck Polydor Records, don't forget they also gave Belters Only a career. For all of you, I don't know if this was my most unexpected pick for the top 100 songs of 2023 overall, but it certainly was for me. And every time I think I'm over its organ-fueled majesty, I stick it back on and I start hopping around my living room like a jumping bean. Fuck, my cats probably hate me. Haha, yep. This was a hit back in 2010, and while it had popped up now and again over the years, it came back with an absolute vengeance in 2023. Through a combination of several concerts that Florence performed across Ireland, and a tie-in to the only great Marvel movie to drop last year. All of that combined propelled one of Florence's most iconic songs ever all the way back into the top 40. And yet even then, there were 3 songs above this one, which are bound to be controversial. So might as well get the most divisive one out of the way first. Yeah, I don't actually think people are going to disagree with me when I call this Noah Kahan's best song. And to be clear, I'm specifying the original version here. The Post Malone remix is actually pretty great, but then you miss out on the line, "Let the pain metastasize," and I'm not ready to give that up. Let the pain metastasize. The song just grew and grew and grew on me over the course of last year. A phenomenon I've actually heard echoed by a lot of critics, by the way. When a song is both this unabashedly pathetic, but also entirely aware of just how toxic it is, especially when paired with such an iconic chorus. I'll die a drunk, I'll die a drunk, I'll die for you. And a killer guitar solo, and that banjo, it just blows all notions of good taste out the window, resulting in an instant classic. I only wish I'd realized it sooner, because had I done so, this song would have been so high on my list of the best songs of 2022 overall. But do you want to know what should have placed even higher?
Pull me out of this.
As someone who's been typecast as the guy who doesn't really get dance music and electronica, 2023 was a huge turning point for me. And right from the beginning, this man was one of the major forces behind that change of heart. A producer with such an incredible knack for making looped samples and cascading synths into emotional, impressionistic tapestries that were both incredibly exciting and incredibly gorgeous. And this song might just be his best. It oozes with passion and emotion. It's the kind of music that transcends language, where even if you don't speak English, that earnest plea to a partner to pull you out of a moment of heightened panic and sadness just rings through. The bridge alone is one of the most devastatingly quiet and restrained moments of pop music in recent memory.
Touch me.
Fred again keeps me engaged and makes me care about the well-being of this protagonist with just a few choice phrases against a stunning backdrop of frigid synthesizers, all culminating into one of the most beautiful drops that I've ever heard.
You know how to calm. You know how to calm.
Pull me out of this. It's danceable and deeply emotional at the same time. The kind of track that will get you jumping up and down and crying your eyes out in the same breath. So, what could have possibly been better?
Pictures in passing time, you only smile like that when you're drinking.
Another instant classic, an easy contender for one of the best hits of the decade so far, and one that I have already talked about at length in this video. Just please go watch that. It's just a goddamn masterpiece and the best hit song of 2023, easily.